You walk into a meeting and someone talks over you again. You smile, but inside you're burning. You promise yourself that you'll stay professional, but by lunchtime, you're like literally fuming from inside. Or you hear that, she cried in the washroom again. No, not because she's weak, but because she's been holding it for very long time. That rising tension, being controlled all the time, the feeling of being invisible despite showing up every day at work and giving her best that she can. No one saw it, but she felt everything. Sounds familiar to you? We talk about deadlines, targets, and team performance, but no one really teaches you how to deal with the most unpredictable force in our workplace today, which is emotions, our emotional triggers. So today, let's go where few conversations go. These little moments, seemingly minor, they are called as emotional triggers. And if you want to grow as a leader or even survive in your workplace, you need to understand what those triggers are and how to respond without losing yourself. So let me break it down for you in today's episode. Stay tuned with me right till the end of the episode. Don't go anywhere. Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. You with Sonia on Thinking Thursdays. Grab your cups of coffee and let's start with the episode today. Now, first things first, what are emotional triggers really? They're not any random mood swings. Emotional triggers are very specific moments that hit your nerve, often because they touch a very deeper insecurity or they come from past experience. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's shame, embarrassment, sometimes it's deep insecurity. And these responses usually come from the past experiences, not just from only the present moment that you are facing. They show up quietly and affect everything at your workplace, your confidence, your focus, and how you show up even with your team. So let's look at what are those common triggers at work, right? Some common ones we're going to touch upon today. First, not being heard or not being acknowledged. Say you're in a meeting and you share a brilliant idea for, say, streamlining the client feedback process. And everybody ignores your idea. No one even acknowledges that you've given an idea. No one responds to it as well. And 2 minutes later, someone else repeats the same idea or your manager shares the same idea and that gets an applaud from the team. Everybody acknowledges, oh, what a brilliant idea. Now, what's triggered here is frustration. You get frustrated that, same idea I shared before that person and no one even acknowledged. No one knew that I was there in the room. No one hears me out as well. So you feel invisible that am I sitting in that meeting or not? And what's the reason behind it? Maybe years of not being taken seriously in your own company or by your own team members. Perhaps even cultural or gender based dismissal that maybe the manager is a male figure and you are a female. So maybe people didn't take you seriously, or vice versa. It could be that as well. Or, there is a cultural thing that, people are averse to certain cultures and hence, they don't see that you're there in the room as well. Now, when such a situation arises, how do you handle it? Say, for example, you've shared an idea and that never got acknowledged. So you can actually approach your manager and say that I noticed that the idea I shared got picked up later in the meeting. I'd appreciate if my contributions could be acknowledged in the real time too. It encourages me to bring more to the table. Now, this is a very simple way that you've actually, put across what you wanted to say instead of getting frustrated and saying, this was my idea. Why did the other person got a credit for it? So why not go approach your manager and say that, maybe it was a genuine mistake, but this was my idea and I noticed that somebody else just voiced the same idea later. So I would also like to be acknowledged for it, for my contributions that I'm bringing to the table. The other common trigger, emotional trigger, is like you are being criticized in public at your workplace. Say it's a Monday review meeting and your manager says in front of the entire entire team. This report looks like, you made it in a rush. Not sure what happened here. The statistic numbers don't match. I feel that, you didn't do a right job. Whereas you had worked the weekend to finish that report. You had given your best in that report with whatever limited resources that you had, with whatever limited data that was given to you. You worked over the weekend to finish that report. And when such a comment like that is made in public in front of your other team members, you go silent. And later, what do? You start avoiding taking the lead again in any such initiatives. Because what is triggered here is that you feel the shame, you feel helpless, you feel embarrassed, you feel not appreciated for the work that you've put in. And what's the reason behind it? Maybe a deep-seated fear of not being good enough in your work, or the fear of failure. How do you handle this? I think I would say this to all the aspiring leaders, people who are already leaders or your managers, and you're handling your team, and something like this, you've said it in a meeting. I think the next thing what you need to do is you need to take that person aside and say that comment came out very wrong. I really appreciate your effort and we can improve the report together if you like. Now that will actually boost the confidence of the other person, will make the other person feel that, okay, fine, we're all humans. We all make mistakes. So what, he said it in front of other people, but he realized that was not done, and that's not the way to handle a particular situation. And he's ready or she's ready now to work on this report with me. So my efforts didn't go unnoticed. So that's where, you'll make a change and you will make your teams feel even more comfortable in the environment, and they'll not shy away from taking the lead again. Tomorrow, if you want another report to be done, what if the other person says, no, sir, I won't do it, because you don't like the work I do. So what will you do at that point? So it's very important to balance and see what are those emotional triggers and try to handle them. I think I also see a couple of emotional triggers when you are being micromanaged. When your boss is standing on your head all the time, the boss has given you the task, but somewhere down the line, the boss is not trusting you that you'll be able to deliver it the way the boss wants you to deliver it, right? So every now and then he'll keep checking, okay, what's the progress? What are you doing now? Why are you doing that? You're supposed to do this. So the boss is all over your head. For example, say you are assigned a particular project and you're very excited to lead that project, but your boss keeps checking in that, have you sent the mail? Did you follow the format? Copy me on every email and every task. I want to have Monday morning meetings with you. Every time you leave office, before that, you need to update me, whatever that you've done throughout the day. So it's like you're constantly being monitored by your boss, which gives a signal that, don't you trust me? You've given this project to me. Have faith that I'll deliver it. And if I have any doubts, I will reach out to you for guidance. So you feel that, your every step is monitored. And soon what happens is that you start second guessing every move that you make. Your energy levels come down. You're no longer motivated. You're no longer excited. Because what is triggering here is that you have no control over your project. You're feeling undervalued. You're feeling irritated, frustrated, feeling undermined, underappreciated, not trusted. And the reason behind this could be your past experience of not being trusted by your managers or by your team members, and always being controlled by other people in the office. So that could be the reason that is triggering all of this. And if you're facing such a situation at work, then possibly you could try by responding like, I'd love to have a little more space to own this project that you've given me with a lot of trust and responsibility. Can we schedule a one check-in midweek, or once a week we can probably schedule a 15-minute or a 30-minute where I can share what is the progress of a particular project, instead of constant updates that I have to give you, because that is draining my energy, that is not making me completely focused on the project that you've given me. Now what you're trying to do is you're trying to establish those constant updates that I have to give you is distracting me, is irritating me, is frustrating me, is doubting my own capabilities. So I think once a week, let's schedule a check-in where I give you a complete download of what's happening, or whenever I'm facing a particular challenge, I will come and, speak to you about it. So maybe try this out. It might help you. Now, this one is very, very common. unfair comparison. When you are being compared with your other colleague and the other person is doing same task he's doing, similar projects you're doing, but the other person gets more credit for it, he is more recognized, he's more valued, he is made to feel that, he's contributing a lot, he's bringing a lot on table, and people are appreciating the other person more, and whereas you feel you're being ignored. For example, you and your colleague, you handle similar kind of client portfolios, but only one of you is praised during the monthly review meeting and the other is ignored. Whatever work that he's done, whatever contributions the other person has brought on table are all ignored as if they don't exist in that room. Now, what's triggering here is that resentment, that insecurity, the self-doubt that am I doing good? Am I doing something right or not? Because we both are doing the same thing, but I'm never acknowledged for it. So that is a very, very negative sentiment to set in, because then you'll start doubting your every move that you are making. And the reasons behind this could be like you desire for recognition in the room. You get that fear of being overlooked by other people. You need constant validation. And I think here I would like to suggest to you that how you could respond to a similar situation if you are facing at your workplace. You could ask for a one-on-one with your manager and just say that I'm proud of the work that I did this week. Would love to understand where I can grow and also where my work is being seen. Now that will give a signal to your manager that I think this person was ignored in that meeting. This person has also brought so much value on table. He is doing so much and his clients are very happy. He's handling a good portfolio of clients. I don't know why I missed out on it. And maybe the next time when similar kind of a monthly review meeting happens, that person will not ignore you in the room. Many times we don't even notice that how these emotional triggers are coming inside us, or how to identify these emotional triggers that we face. Let me share with you some of the points that you can keep in mind, and that will help you to identify your specific emotional triggers that you're facing at work. So first, I think you should start noticing patterns in your emotions that you're feeling at work. When do you consistently feel a little off at work, irritated at work, or you're feeling your energy is getting drained out? Look for some themes. Is it the authority? Is it feedback? Or is it deadlines? So look at when do you feel drained? When do you feel angry? When do you feel a little emotionally off at work? What type of comment or person or tone that set you off? So try this. I used to do it when I used to feel a little agitated, irritated at work. I used to keep a trigger journal. I used to name it as a trigger journal. I used to keep that journal for a week. On a weekly basis, I used to maintain it. So log when you feel, that surge of emotion that is coming inside you as to what happened, what did it remind you of, and how would you handle it. So when you start journaling these emotions, you can then go back and read, okay, fine, I did this help me or not? If this action that I took is still not helping me, what is something more that I can do? And if nothing works, then, you should look out for a mentor or somebody to coach you, somebody to guide you, somebody who takes you on the face value and, looks out for you. Somebody who's positive. So look out for somebody who can guide you at that stage then. The other sign that you can look out for is how is your body when you are facing those kind of emotional triggers. Because remember, your body reacts even before your words do. So maybe your chest is going to become a little tight, your hands will start sweating, maybe, a heartbeat will be a little faster, you'll have thoughts running in your mind. That's your signal that, you are facing kind of an emotional trigger there. That's your body telling you that you've been here before. That could be another sign that you are facing an emotional trigger. Other thing what you can look at doing to identify your emotional trigger is ask, what's the story I'm going to tell myself? often seem that the story is deeper than the situation. For example, your manager skips your input in a meeting. So your story could be that she doesn't think that I'm capable. Whereas the reality could be that she may have just been rushed in that meeting, or she was preoccupied in her mind, or she was thinking of something else, or maybe she was short on time. So there could be many reasons. Whereas, the story that you are cooking up may not be a reality as well. So, here, knowing the difference will change everything for you. So, you will not feel that resentment inside you when you start knowing what was the reality. Now that you've identified what is triggering you, now how do you handle some situations? The difference between professional meltdown and the leadership moment is to pause before you react. कहते हैं ना कि पहले सोचो फिर बोलो. The best leaders are not the ones who never get triggered. They are the ones who know when they're triggered and then they need to pause. And some of the tools or techniques that you can use here is pause and breathe. Don't reply when your heart is, beating very fast, your palms are sweaty, your mind is like going in two different directions, your stomach is having those sensations. So don't reply at that time. Take a pause, do a deep breathing. Think through what do you want to say and is it the right thing to say or not? And if you say that, are you going to regret it later or not? And always try to name your feeling. Am I feeling dismissed or was he being rude? So don't jump to conclusions. Try to give a name to that feeling, because when you give a name to that feeling, then it's very easy for you to logically break it down and then confront that with your manager or with whosoever that you're facing this with. With this, I think you should ask rather than assume, because when you ask, you're seeking for clarity and you're not assuming things. When we start assuming things, I can't even tell you the kind of problems that will crop up with our assumptions, because we start assuming things and then there is no end to that whole roller coaster ride of assumptions that we sit on. So always ask, seek clarity. You could simply say that, can we revisit that part of discussion, versus saying that, you ignored me totally in that meeting. Lastly, I just want to say that respond with some intent here. So instead of just snapping at the other person, just say, can I add something here? Or I felt unheard earlier. May I share my point of view now? So here what you're doing is you're trying to protect your boundaries without burning your bridges with the other person. See, great leaders are not emotionless. They are emotionally aware. They know their trigger points, but they don't take it out on their teams. They create space for others to feel very psychologically safe. They respond, but they do not react, even if they are under tremendous pressure. They check in and not just check out when the tension is rising. They do not for sure suppress their emotions, but they create space for themselves within their teams. For example, after a team member broke down during a high stress week, what did the project head do at that time? He started calling for every morning a 10-minute debrief, which was mostly opened by saying that before we dive into work, how is everyone feeling? Are you overwhelmed? Are you okay? What is your vibe check right now? Let's check in with each other. How are we doing? Because he realized that it's a very stressful week. This project is going to take a lot of toll on us. So let's, look out for each other. Now, this small habit will build more trust in your team members. I think whenever you see, even if you are just part of a team, you're not the leader, during any team review meetings or any team meetings or any stressful work environment that you are working in, if you notice that colleague who was very confident is somehow withdrawing herself, maybe because she's been called out in meetings and maybe because, uska samay kharab chal raha hai, jo bhi wo kar rahi hai, wo kharab ho raha hai. So instead of just brushing it off, I think you should just reach out to your colleague of yours and say that, hey, you seem a little off lately. So you want to talk about what's happening? Can I be of help? Can I just listen to what you have to say? And maybe I can help you out. Now, what that would do is, even if you're not the immediate manager of that person, the person will feel reassured. The person will feel that at least somebody noticed that I've not been myself lately. So finally, I just want to say that emotional triggers, they're not signs of weakness. They're signs that something important is at stake. So whether you're leading a team or you're just starting out, being aware of what hits you, how you react, and how you lead through can actually change your entire work life. The next time something triggers you, don't just swallow it. Don't just snap at it. Pause, understand, and choose to lead on that. Because in today's professional world, emotional intelligence is not soft. It's your superpower. So if this video hit a nerve or gave you clarity, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with someone in your team or in your network who needs to hear this today. And also with this, drop in a comment below what's that one emotional trigger you've noticed in yourself at work. Let's talk about it, because we name it, we can change it. And hey, if you're ready to lead with more confidence, clarity, and calm, then stay tuned. More videos are coming up soon. So see you in my next video. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.